So one of the things that always sort of threw me for a loop when I started into smart home automation was all of the ridiculous terminology. Like, do I need the cloud for my video surveillance? Is Zigbee a brand name or is it a technology? And what exactly is Homeassistant and how does it help me make a smart home? Lastly, how do all of these different systems work together? So in this video, we're going to try to translate all of the marketing and geek jargon into plain English so it makes more sense. So let's jump in. Welcome back to Mackie Tech, tech fans. And so to start, at a basic level, a smart home is really just a bunch of devices that can manage and automate things around your house, like your lights, your door locks, your thermostats, your cameras. Many of them can communicate over your home's Wi-Fi network, just like your smartphone and your laptop. Others use technologies like Zigbee, which is actually an open source, low power wireless protocol that is specifically designed around smart home devices. A popular example might be Philips Hue smart bulbs, which connect to a hub like the Hue Bridge. These hubs act as a translator between your Zigbee devices and your home network. One of the biggest advantages of Zigbee over Wi-Fi is that Zigbee-powered devices can also act as repeaters. So instead of every device having to communicate directly with the hub, signals can hop or bounce from one device to another, creating a sort of a mesh network to broaden the Zigbee's network range and make it more reliable. Now, Zigbee can also interfere with Wi-Fi signals, so an alternative might be Z-Wave, which operates on a completely different signal from Wi-Fi and Zigbee. So there's less chance of interference, but it's also proprietary. Now, the good news about being proprietary in this case is that all Zigbee devices are certified to work together, but that also means that you might have less options and might pay more for your Z-Wave devices than a Zigbee counterpart. That brings us to Thread, which is another low-power networking technology similar to Zigbee and Z-Wave. The difference is that Thread is only responsible for delivering the message. If you think of it as like a mail carrier delivering a package, the mail carrier knows where the package is going but has no idea what's inside the box. And that's where the language of Matter comes in. Matter is a relatively new smart home language designed to help compatible devices work together across platforms like Google Home, Apple, Amazon Alexa, and Homeassistant. It actually started in 2019 under the name CHIP, which stands for Connected Home over IP. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, and the Zigbee Alliance all got involved to address the issue of devices from different manufacturers either not working well together, or maybe they would lock you into certain smart home systems. In 2021, the CHIP project was renamed to Matter, and the next year, Matter 1.0 was officially released. Then, over the next couple of years, Amazon, Apple, Google, Samsung, and Homeassistant, which we'll talk about shortly, all began adding support. Today, Matter has become one of the most widely supported smart home standards that you'll find in many new smart home products. So now that we've discussed some of the terminology, let's discuss how it all works together, starting with internet-based systems like Amazon Alexa and Samsung SmartThings. Now, these platforms aren't connected to the cloud because your smart bulb needs the internet to turn on. They're cloud-based because services like Alexa's voice recognition, remote control, remote access, account management, and many of the integrations are provided by Amazon's servers. Now, some Alexa devices communicate over Wi-Fi, while others use Zigbee, Matter, or Thread. As an example, the Echo 4th Gen and certain Echo Show models include a built-in Zigbee hub. Another example is the AOTech Smart Home Hub, which serves as Samsung's official SmartThings hub and supports Zigbee 3.0, Z-Wave Plus, Matter, Thread, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. So SmartThings gives you the flexibility to mix and match compatible devices from a wide variety of manufacturers, making it much easier to build a smart home without being locked into a single platform. So whether it's Alexa, SmartThings, or Google Home, these platforms can control everything from lights, locks, and thermostats, but security cameras are sort of a different beast because in addition to sending alerts, they also have to store and manage video footage. Let's look at how cloud-based systems like Ring and Google Nest handle that. So with Ring and Google Nest, you can view live camera feeds, receive motion alerts, and manage your devices from almost anywhere. And while you can view live video without paying, features like saving footage and viewing history often require a paid subscription, depending on the brand and the features that you want. You'll also need to purchase and connect the cameras to your home's network via Wi-Fi or Ethernet. After all that, all of the storage of your footage and cloud server maintenance is done as part of the paid subscription. The benefits of paying for these services is obviously convenience. They handle the storage, maintenance issues, software updates, all the back-end infrastructure for you. But what if you'd rather keep more of your smart home running on hardware you own and not pay a subscription fee? Well, that's where self-hosting comes in. In basic terms, self-hosting means you own and have complete control over all systems that run your smart home rather than relying on a company's cloud service. For example, your camera footage is stored on equipment you own instead of being uploaded to a provider's cloud servers. The trade-off is your time and upfront investment in not only the cameras, but in the configuration and upkeep of the equipment that manages and stores the video footage. In my case, I use Unifi Protect with 5 cameras, including my doorbell. My recordings are all stored on equipment in my basement, and I control how long I keep all video footage rather than having a cloud provider decide based on the subscription I'm paying for. The good news is that after the Unifi initial setup, I don't really need to babysit it much. I configure the footage I want to keep, and the system manages storage and automatically removes older footage when needed. The benefit is that you're not beholden to a monthly fee to access your recordings, and maybe more importantly, you're not handing your data over to a corporation. Even the AI detection features within Unifi Protect are processed locally, with cloud services used primarily for convenient remote access rather than video analysis. If you already own a bunch of different camera brands or want more flexibility, free open source software like Frigate can mix and match cameras from a variety of brands. It does require a bit more setup and doesn't have the polished mobile apps like Unifi, Ring, or Nest, but you get a lot more flexibility and can build a surveillance system around the software and hardware you already own. Speaking of flexibility and control with surveillance, what if you wanted that same level of control over your lights, locks, thermostats, sensors, and automations? That's where our friend Homeassistant comes in. Homeassistant is a free open source software that you can run on almost any modern computer or single board computer like the Raspberry Pi 4 or 5. And it supports all of the smart home technologies we've talked about. For example, if you want to use Zigbee or Z-Wave devices, you can use a compatible USB hub like this one and plug it into the machine that's running your Home Assistant. Once that's in place, Home Assistant can bring all of the different technologies together in a single interface. Where Home Assistant really shines is its automation potential. As an example, for me, I have all of the lights in my studio plugged into Zigbee smart outlets. With this Zigbee remote, I can turn everything on with a single press and then turn them all off with a double press. My Home Assistant receives the remote signals through this Zigbee USB hub, then runs the automation that controls all of the outlets. Another automation I use is my office light, which is plugged into a Wi-Fi smart plug. It's triggered by this Raspberry Pi 02W with a motion sensor attached. When it detects motion, the Raspberry Pi sends the information to Home Assistant over Wi-Fi, and Home Assistant turns the smart plug on, lighting the room. Then after 5 minutes, if no motion is detected, Home Assistant automatically shuts the lights back off. Now, Home Assistant might not be for everybody because it does have a learning curve, and to be honest, I'm just scratching the surface of what it can do, but I do like to have complete control over my systems. Nothing is sent to the cloud, and my data remains private. So in the end, after everything we've talked about, who should actually consider self-hosting their own smart home? In my opinion, if you just want to install a few smart devices, control them with your phone or your voice, and don't really care how it works, then cloud-based platforms like Ring, Google Home, or SmartThings, or Alexa are probably the better choice. They handle the updates, the infrastructure, and most of the maintenance for you. But if you're someone who likes to tinker with newer technology, maybe wants more privacy, just likes the idea of owning their own data, or maybe you just don't want to pay a monthly subscription, then self-hosting might be right up your alley. It usually does require a larger upfront investment for the equipment and does take time to learn, maintain, and occasionally troubleshoot, but in return, you do get far more flexibility and control. Now, to be completely honest, I still use Alexa for things like voice control and setting timers and whatnot, but I do like hosting my own equipment. I like to be able to control what is sent to the cloud, and I like that I am able to customize it the way I want. But if that sounds like more of a pain or more of a chore than a hobby, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with sticking with a cloud-based solution. But let me know in the comments what system you are using. Are you using Alexa or SmartThings or Homeassistant or something I haven't discussed here? Anyway, that's going to wrap up another video. If you found it helpful, please give us a like and make sure to click that subscribe button. Links for the cheat sheets I used are available through my free Patreon, which is going to be in the description. And if you'd like to support me, I've recently added a bunch of behind-the-scenes videos for my YouTube channel members. They're a little more on the casual side, a little more chaotic, and hopefully mildly entertaining. A special shout out to my Patreon supporters. You know who you are. Thank you all for watching. We'll be talking to you again very soon.